Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where today we're working on my mom's 1978 K5 Blazer. Last year I put a new motor in this thing. She's been driving it ever since, but it needs some more work. It needs a heater core, a couple of shocks, and just some basic maintenance stuff done. Then after we do this, we're gonna head over to my parents' house and we're gonna throw away some pesky fuel injection and install a carburetor on a Corvette. Let's get started. This is a 78 K5. It's got a 350 in it, turbo 350, 203 transfer case, of course, full-time unit. It's got the Cheyenne trim package. It's kind of an upper level as far as square bodies go. Power windows, power locks, all that good stuff. Dad just installed some new slot mags on it, but starting to see some antifreeze leak out of the heater core box in here and down the firewall under the hood. One of the more interesting options on this one is the inside hood release. That wasn't standard until 1981 on these trucks, I don't believe. If we look down at the bottom of that evaporator box there, we can definitely see that it's wet. It's probably been leaking for a minute. Dad doesn't have the time to do this, so he took it to a shop and asked them to put a heater core in it, just the heater core. $700 is what they estimated to put in a $25 heater core. They said, oh, you got to pull the dash out of it, and this and that. And no, you don't. You don't have to do any of that in these trucks. You can work through the glove box. It's right there. Shops are always going to try to rip you off. That's what they do. And, you know, you can do this stuff. Let's get the coolant drained. 2 seconds into this, it's already getting interesting because the petcock is broke off and epoxied shut. That's going to leave us with the option of disconnect the lower radiator hose and let it drain out that way instead, but that will be messy. Wiggle it off. Try to make it drain cleanly. That's never going to happen though. God dang it. This is super clean floor absorbent's about the best stuff I've ever used. And we'll get that soaked up and we can sweep it up later once it finishes dripping. Messy or not, it did accomplish our goal of lowering the coolant level below the heater hoses there so that when we pull it out of the truck it doesn't just I can't get these heater hoses disconnected, and these hoses are about hard as a rock, so we're probably going to have to replace those too. Let me just saw through these hoses with my pocket knife here. Yeah, those are antiques. I can tell somebody has put a heater core in it though, because the dum-dum has been removed. That's what this like gooey stuff, it's always around the firewall, usually around like grommets and stuff. It'll be like kind of a gooey tar-like stuff. It's called dum-dum, and they use it to seal up everything. It's all been knocked out of here, so somebody at one time has put a heater core in it. I think these hoses have graduated from rubber to melee weapon. They're pretty hard. Floor mat's covered in coolant. The whole floorboard's wet. Definitely got to get that fixed. Glove box out of here. Maybe they thought that was like 3 hours of labor. We got to remove this duct here, and then we remove this whole heater box assembly here, and the heater core's inside of that. Conveniently, these are mostly finger tight, so you know what? I'll take the wins where I can get them. Oh boy, yeah, that's not a good sign. This whole thing's gonna be full. So most of these are studs going through the other side. We're gonna have a lot of nuts to take off on the side with the air conditioning box, and a lot of them are not any fun to get to. It's gonna be really hard to see what I'm doing, but here's an example of what we're looking for. Little studs like that. If I recall, there's probably 5 or 6 of them, and there's 4 on the bottom and a handful on top. It's a straight up not a great time. This whole lower firewall section is rotted out, probably from the prior leaky heater core. I don't know how I'm going to get my hands down in there for those other ones. Thanks to the giant rust hole, there is only one stud holding it in. However, it is tucked in between the fender well and the box, and I can't get to it. Here's my plan, I think, is I can see the head of the stud right there. Let's just drill it out, and then we could probably replace it with some kind of coarse thread bolt and not even deal with that. We're drilling away on there. Just got to get the head of that off, and then this box should come out the inside. A little violence. We got that out of there. Now, I don't think I need to... I may have to unhook all these cables. One bolt up here holding it to the defrost vent. That's what's keeping us from being able to access that heater core. So let me get that out. There we go. There's a heater core right there. let's get it out. If I pull this linkage bracket off the top, I should be able to do the heater core outside of the truck just by unhooking this little vacuum line here. I think the last one of these I did actually had rivets holding it to the box, so this one having screws makes our life a little easier. There. Got that out of there. Looks like that this is just the blend door for the heat. It's not actually built into the heater core, so that's kind of nice. Two more sneaky ones hanging out down in there. And I dropped the screws in there, of course. Well, just one. Well, anyway, that's been leaking quite a while. We'll put that out for the crackheads to pick up at night. Let's put our new one in. I wiped up all that old antifreeze with some D-germ there. And it'll have a nice fresh scent when it goes back together. Let's lube up this blend door cable a little bit. Pretty significant rust where it was leaking for a long time in there. This being a driver, we're not fixing it, okay? I mean, this is where your perfectionist guys would disassemble the perfectly good running driving truck to fix that rust hole. That does nothing. Let me hose all this off with some brake clean. Get it nice and degreased. So to treat that hole, I'm just going to spray some Rust-Oleum on it, and then we'll put some metal tape over it just to kind of separate the engine compartment from the passenger compartment some. You know, we could cut it all out and patch it, or we could just do this and she could keep driving it for years and it'll be just fine. Project Farm did a test on rust preventatives, and regular old Rust-Oleum spray paint actually held up about as good as anything else, as long as it wasn't exposed to UV light, which this won't be. So this actually should work for a while. I have my firewall patch material right here, you know, metal tape. What a glorious repair that is. No, that really, it'll work just fine. So now let's go ahead and stab the heater box back in it, bolt it back up, and at least that part's done. The reason it had like 6 or 7 bolts and studs before is so that you could lose a couple of them and it'd be all right. That's science. We're counting on you to do a lot, Mr. Stud here. Get it? He's a stud. In lieu of that stud we had to cut out, I'll shoot a self-tapper into it right here. It's honestly sturdier than it was before. I'll take it. See the nipples poking out over there? And gonna get some new heater hose tomorrow, run some new hose, new clamps, and that should be good for a long time. Jess is sweeping up the debris. I'll clean off this floor mat. It'll all be just like it never happened. Cover up our metal tape repair. There we go. Now nobody ever needs to know. Got JD sweeping up the mess here. Our heater core is all finished. We got heater hoses and stuff. I just did that real quick. Filled the system back up. Should be good to go. However, one of the things they wanted me to look at is the truck is kind of hard to start after it sits. Kind of like the fuel pump's losing prime. When I put this motor in, I reused the old fuel pump. So let's throw a new one on it real quick. Hopefully that remedies it. And we also need to put front and rear shocks on this thing because they are junk. Typical Chevy fuel pump, it's push rod driven. So inside there is a little push rod, rides on the cam, and as the cam pushes it, it's on an eccentric, pushes it, and then the push rod levers the pump, and then pulls fuel out of the tank, and shoves it up into the carburetor. Pretty easy. Probably one of the worst fuel pump designs ever because they are a pain in the butt. Still got a hard line. Going up to the carb. Oh, there it went. Whew, you know, just took a little elbow grease, no big deal. I just pulled off the line that goes to the carb, and there's a little bit in it, but it really ought to be just pouring out of there, and it's not. So yeah, I think we definitely just have a weak fuel pump. It's not bad, it's just going bad. Anytime you're dealing with fuel pumps, that kind of thing, keep a couple bolts handy to plug the lines with. If it tries to gravity flow out of there, you're gonna have a hell of a, you know, big flammable mess, and that could end real bad. Boy, it's really not holding much of a vacuum on it, is it? That should be gushing, and it's not. So that bolt, if you pull that bolt out, it is actually an open hole behind it, and it just happens to run right into that fuel pump push rod. We pull that bolt out and put a longer bolt in there, it'll jam that push rod up, and it'll make putting on a new pump a lot easier. Not every small block has that. Some of them are through, some of them are blind. I've seen them both ways, but I think most of them are through, so always worth a shot. Get that cleaned off down here. I'm gonna grab the fuel pump push rod. I'm gonna shove it up, or try to, with a pair of needle nose. We've got an extra long bolt here that I will now tighten down and jam it into the side of that push rod. This is not a through hole. I still have thread showing, and my bolt is tight, and that push rod has no resistance on it. I could have maybe shoved a screwdriver in there to see, but that is absolutely not a through hole. So that's what I'm saying, is not all small blocks are created equal. Since we can't run that bolt through, take a flathead screwdriver, kind of dig into the side of that rod, and then slip the fuel pump underneath it, and then in one smooth motion we'll just reassemble this. Now this is the incorrect fuel pump for this. This is a non-return fuel pump, but it will work. We'll just plug the return line. This must be the cheapest fuel pump I've ever seen. These gaskets are made out of literal paper. And now the fun part is always trying to line up the hard line and get it started. The fuel pump's attached, and all we gotta do is hook up hose, plug this return line, and it should be good to go. This fuel filter has seen better days. Pretty sure this thing still has the original tank in it. So while we're here, let's go ahead and throw a fuel filter at it. Alright, well, let's start on the front here for no particular reason. They look old. Master Pro front shocks. I'm sure these are great. Zip this out of here. Wow, it did. Oh, they're definitely junk. Oh, they're junk. Look at that.
Oh, gee. Isn't that supposed to come down?
Yeah, I think it's probably supposed to.
Oh, they're nuts.
I do need that spacer.
New to pull by garage, tool bench.
I will say that these shocks, though kind of chump, are less chump than the Gabriel shocks I've been using lately, because they were the cheapest ones on Rock Auto. These Master Pros are miles ahead of those. I couldn't get my stands high enough to relax the suspension. I'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way and compress the shock with my bare hands. And there, it's not that hard. Well, this bolt is stuck, so I'm gonna use some Freol, soak that thing down, and probably go get a MAP gas torch. They're usually not stuck on the nut, they're usually stuck in the sleeve of that bushing. Set that right about there. Keep that bushing up, see if we can get that thing to free out of there. Very hot, very hot, very hot. There we go, crunchy, one of those. Yeah. I saw some transmission lines I need to fix up in here. We'll get to that later though. I want to finish one job at a time, one job at a time. Let's get on the rear shocks here. Now, story on these is Dad paid that same shop that quoted $700 to do a heater core in this to put springs in it. Now, they did that for a reasonable price, but they threw it together with one of these shocks is clanking and clunking around it here. It's not this one. I think it's... Oh, God. Oh, wow. That's almost ripped out of the mount. Holy crap. What? We might have to throw a little extra washer in there or something. Who puts something back together like that? I mean, what asshole? Let's start with the non-foobarred side first. Build up a little momentum going into this. Managed to get the nut broke free, barely. And the bolt ain't moving, so we're gonna get out the fire and the Freol again. Is there fire?
Just keep scrolling, nothing to see here.
Ah. Woo. Just barely. What the hell? It's a live studio audience out there.
They get a little rowdy.
Here's what happens. Anything with a bushing has a metal sleeve like this, and that bolt is just stuck. It has rust welded itself to that metal sleeve. So the way we fix that is with violence. I hate using Sawzalls for this. Alright.
Bringing out the big guy.
I'm bringing out the carbide.
You're done asking nicely.
That's right. I'm bringing out the $15 Sawzall blade to cut a bolt. You know, I bought this to cut a car in half. It was supposed to have bigger dreams.
Dashing its hopes. It was bragging to its friends, and now you've diminished its street cred.
Oh. Ah! Ah, God!
Show me the look of victory.
I mean, it is one piece. I've ran into plenty of bad ones in my day, don't get me wrong, but...
Is that a case where rust welded better than you?
Oh yeah, Rust always welds better than me. Huh. Just adjust those ears a little. Well, that thing is foobar. So I'm just gonna jump straight to chopping it up. I thought cutting this would be easier. It's not about the length, it's more about the angle. If I get in like this.
How's that going?
Not well.
Making noise.
Lots of that. I could take the wheel off, but that would be an awful lot of work. It wouldn't be that much work. Let me take the wheel off. Those nuts are not fully engaged. Well, just one.
Holy
But
shit.
you can't do that. You cannot do that. That's not how that works, dude. It just needs tightened more. I'll hit that with an impact while I'm here. Use the old U-bolts too.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah, huge no-no. Come on, like, attention to detail. I'm stupid. I know that a nut has to be fully engaged on the threads. Everybody knows that. Back to this disaster. But let me guess, it's probably also stuck. I've been soaking it. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's stuck. Hang on there, big wrench. I just keep finding things. This just fell off. We gotta adjust these. We'll fix that in a minute. God.
Add that to the tranny lines.
What unholy material are these bolts made out of? This is a carbide blade. Aha! Look at that, huh? Jesus. Who does that? Who says, that's fine, and just leaves it? You're getting paid to do a job. My dumb huckleberry ass could figure out that... no, you don't do that. I hate shops. Well, except for yours, Jim. You got the hot dog in the hallway effect going on here. Let's just sandwich some washers on either side of that and call it good. There, see that lock washer? It fills up the hallway so the hot dog can fit in there better.
So you were just going to do the shocks tonight. How's that turned out?
This was a heater core. A fuel pump. 2 shocks at first, but talked them into 4. And now I'm going to adjust the brakes. I'm going to check the U-joints in it. I'm going to lube every zert in this thing. Probably ought to go ahead and check the rear end grease. Probably ought to check the transfer case grease. I don't think it's ever been checked. Yeah, no, this turned into a whole ordeal here. So this is maintenance, though. I mean, this is what you got to do to keep your old stuff driving. You can't just leave it. You know, new cars, you can run them for 200,000 miles and never pull a spark plug out of them. You can't get away with that with old stuff. People say, oh, we don't build them like they used to. Well, we really don't. And sometimes it's a good thing. You know, these things had 5-digit odometers for a reason, because nobody thought they lived more than 100,000 miles. That's repaired. And so now we just take this guy and stick him up in here. Ah, just like that. Well, before I slap this back together, I guess I'll run this brake adjuster out. It felt pretty stiff. It still works though. We're gonna run this little wheel. It goes down. You can hear it clicking the adjuster. We're gonna run that out. That's gonna spread the shoes apart. I'm gonna hang the drum back on. That's better. I think we can let the self-adjusters do the rest from there. I just don't want to be able to lean on it and pull the damn thing off. I don't know, it probably still should go a couple more clicks. Look how thin those drums are. Those have been turned down till there's nothing left. Probably ought to tell Dad to get a set of those, or at least one. We'll look at the other one. I mean, look how far. I've got that brake adjuster ran out pretty damn far. I mean, it can go further, but you don't want to run them too thin, you know. I got to thinking better of it. Got 2 new brake drums to throw on this thing. They're so thin. If it was mine, I'd run them, but you know, my mom driving it. Yeah, let's play it safe. Well, the drums kind of resemble each other. I think it'll work, but you can tell. Look how much thicker the lining is. You know, this used to be that thick, but it's been turned so many times. Thing is, they get that thin, it could come apart. And then you got a locked up wheel, or, you know, not like your rear brakes matter that much. It's just that could cause a catastrophic failure that would lead to other things. It's worth fixing. I need to shorten this adjusting screw, and there we go. It's pretty snug. It's grabbing the shoes. So that adjuster will probably work. It's just got to be closer than it was. So that's close enough. A couple hard reverse. Well, you adjust them by backing up and locking up the brakes. Do that a few times and it'll come out to meet that, no problem. Let's go ahead and make them brand new forever. If you use brake drum in a can on a new brake drum, it actually makes it stop 3,000 times better. That's a fact. Just science. Yeah, same thing over here. Just falling off. That's what I saw on the other side. And I'm gonna guess, yes, completely paper thin again. These transmission lines are nearly worn through. We need to fix that now before it becomes a problem. So I'm just gonna snip them, I don't know, probably back in here someplace. Gotta cut it well past that. Oh man, those are very lucky that that hasn't gone and sprayed all over that header and then Blazer go away. I'm just gonna cut about 6 inches out of the middle of that line, splice in some rubber hose, and we'll tie them up out of the way. And look at that. I mean,
oh my God.
I know. Look how thin it is. It's like there must be literally paper thin amounts of metal holding that together. And this one isn't much better. It's, well, yeah, there it is. It's been rubbing right there. And it's pinched there. Yeah. Let's fix that. We're gonna go with the double clamp method. You know, in lieu of a bubble flare, using 2 hose clamps together actually holds pretty dang good. And the key to doing the double clamp method is to make sure the screws are opposite each other, so you're clamping both sides. The thing is about a hose clamp is they don't actually clamp in a perfect circle, so you want to even the pressure out between both sides. Good hose clamps clamp in a perfect circle. These don't. I guess I should clarify. And there we are. You see I have it zip tied up out of the way. This should be good for quite some time. I mean, you know, the rubber line isn't ideal, but you can get away with it for several years probably. Let's get the grease gun and do this, give it a quick lube job while we're here. Okay, we're gonna pump this thing up until it comes out. Yeah, I can see it moving. There we go, it's coming out. There,
Oh,
look at
yeah.
that.
That's
See, you're supposed to grease that like every 12,000 miles or something like that. It's got one on the back too. Let's look at it. Bone dry. See that? Bad. Transmission mount's going bad too. Ugh. There. See it now? It's coming out of the splines. That was dry. Dry.
dang. Better.
That's much better. Alright, can we get to the U-joints?
They require grease too?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Everything's greasable in old cars. It's greasable for a reason. Because you're supposed to do it. Okay. Couple pumps into that one, and not all U-joints are greasable though if they've been replaced. So let's go ahead and grease all the front suspension.
Okay.
Before I grease everything, I'm going to give everything a little shake down here. A little play like that's not a big deal. What you're looking for is up and down play. There's some, but it's not too bad. I don't think the ball joints are greasable on these. No, they're sealed. Grease that up, it looks totally dry. What we're going to look for is this little rubber boot here. We just want it to kind of swell up, you know. And boom. That's it. 3 or 4 pumps, and look at that. This side is way smoother. Grease the other side. This thing's going to drive like a totally different truck. Boink, boink. That's a lot better. And yeah. That's, well, it's not bone dry. It just needs a little top off. I can reach it with my finger though, so that's a good sign. The worst substance known to man, gear oil. So what we do is we just fill it up until it starts to come out the hole, put the plug back in, and you're good to go. Mortsky from Mortsky Repair showed me this trick. You get like one of these big veterinarian syringes here. You could use it to suck up lube and then put it into things. And, well, of course, I was right at the end, wasn't I? Jeez. Alright, there's that. We'll do the transfer case and the rear diff, and then this thing's good to go. Alright, and nothing came out. This just takes 30 weight non-detergent oil, and I got a quart of it over there. Let's just give it a quick top off while we're here. You don't want to use a detergent oil in your transfer case or anything that calls for that, like most manual transmissions even, because it will foam, and it starts foaming up in there. It loses its lubricity. So non-detergent oil stays oily. It's not good to run in engines after like 1930 or something like that. Oh, that took almost a full quart, so I would say that was worth doing at least. Last stop, check the rear diff. It's like sucking honey out of a jar.
Yeah.
Ugh, really gross sulfuric honey.
I don't think you're collecting anymore.
No, I am. Look.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I gotta let it catch up with the air that's being displaced out of the cylinder.
Oh, wow. I do the whole thing?
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Are you ready for your shot?
Go, 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 go. Push. Jeez.
I want to go through the little tiny...
Oh, no. It's dripping out.
Oh, it's full then. Shoot.
It was about to drip on your head.
Well, it turns out that diff wasn't very low, regardless of the leaking pinion seal. Apparently, it doesn't matter that much, so we'll just ignore it. We're going to start this thing up for the first time. We're going to check it over for leaks and stuff, and then we'll probably run it back to Mom and Dad's. Even though it's nighttime, she could probably use the thing tomorrow, so...
Doesn't leak. I think it'll be all right though. We gotta check the transmission fluid. Pretty low. We didn't lose that much. Let's top that off. Oh, fuel pump.
Oh, fuel pump. All right.
Looked like it was spraying out of the freaking bypass hole. Yeah, it was spraying out the side of the fuel pump, right onto the header. And I'll have JD start it real quick so we can see where it's coming from.
Alright, kill it.
Yep. Freaking bypass hole. Fuel pump's bad out of the box. You never leak out of the gasket on a fuel pump. That's not what the gasket does. The gasket just seals off the oil inside the timing case. Right there. You can see it. See it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the weep hole. That means that the baffle is ruptured in here. Don't buy cheap Chinese fuel pumps. So anyway, let's put this used cheap Chinese fuel pump I found right here on it. I don't know. I mean, I think it came off of something that ran.
Better?
I think so. Let me see if it's... None yet.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good.
Heater core's hot, so that seems to be working. We don't have any, let's see if it's leaking inside. Nah, I think we're good. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good at least. Man, this thing's rich as hell.
Yeah.
Let me fix that. That's better.
Yeah.
Jeez. Drive it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how it does. I want to stop at O'Reilly and get some zinc additive for this thing because I noticed that Dad had the oil changed at an oil change place. I guarantee they didn't put zinc in it. Those guys don't even know what a camshaft is, much less a flat tappet one. Well, it drives nice. A lot better. It's way less squirrely. But, rides better. It's really stiff. Really stiff. But I'm guessing that's because of the new springs they've put in it.
It's normally like this.
It is?
Yeah. It's very bumpy and stuff.
Why is it so dippy? I mean, something feels off. It's normally like this?
Yep. Very bouncy. I mean, it's a truck. I mean...
No, that's not right. That suspension's not moving at all.
Come on.
I mean, it has no... There's no dampening to it at all. When I get on the gas, I can feel it torsioning back there. I want to look at those shackles. I bet they didn't replace the shackle mounts in it, scumbags. Now the heat works. I mean, we got that going for us. They did not replace the shackles. They only put springs in it. I can see a gap around the bushing, and I can see a wear spot where this shackle is walking back and forth right here. That's the wiggliness of this thing going down the road, as the rear end is kind of shifting back and forth. I bet this one's similar. Oh yeah, this one's really bad actually. You can see, if you get in there, you could actually see that the bushing is probably ½ an inch higher than the bolt. What the bolt is straight, but that bushing's actually cockeyed right now. This spring's in crooked. Let me pour some zinc supplement in here. I guarantee they didn't put zinc in it. You got a flat tapper cam, you gotta have zinc. Everything seems okay, sounds okay. Let's go drop it off at their house. Next thing we gotta do is get rid of some horrible crossfire fuel injection on a Corvette, also their car. You know, I'm kind of a mobile mechanic. That's what I do. See anything underneath it?
No.
Average morning in the pole barn household here. Every morning actually starts with AG1. And see, AG1 is a supplement here, and it's a green, doesn't taste too bad, and it's got all the stuff you need, you know, to kind of power through the day. People ask all the time, like, how do you have so much energy to do all this stuff? And the fact is, I don't. But I do supplement with AG1, and actually Jess has started taking it too. Both have really noticed a difference. Well, you put it in these fancy little cups here. Like that. I made a mess. Shake up one bottle for each of us, and we drink it on down, and then you're good for the day. I mean, this is all the vitamins and stuff, and it's got probiotics in it. It helps your gut out. Let me tell you, you know, I mean, she's making biscuits and gravy right now. I need them probiotics, you know what I mean? Have your AG1.
Thanks.
Oh, anyway, click the link down in the description. You can get a year's supply of vitamin D3 and K2 in a little dropper thing, and also travel pouches that I really like. Or you can scan the QR code down in the bottom left corner here, take you right there. It's a product I really believe in, actually. Makes your guts happier after eating a little bit too much, maybe. I have returned out here. This is my mom's 1980 Corvette, kind of. It's been stolen like 14 times. So it has an 82 front end and crossfire fuel injection on it. They put a whole 82 drivetrain, including the 700 R4. So basically what that means is we need to throw all of that away. We're going to do that today. We're going to be swapping out this crossfire fuel injection to a carburetor, changing the intake, distributor, anything else we need to do. Let's be very happy inside. Oh, this advanced electronics, you know, getting stuffed into a landfill somewhere where they belong. Goodbye. Fancy. Draining out the antifreeze. We're going to drain it below the level of the intake. What does this do? I don't know. Who cares? What does this do? I don't care. What does this do? I don't care. Does anybody need any crossfire stuff? Too bad. Oh, see this thing that's broken right here? That's probably what was wrong with it. So anyway, we'll just throw it away. We have a 700 R4, which means we have a TV cable. So once we go to the car, we're gonna have to install this little guy too. That's just another kink in the works there. I'm gonna soak this adjuster on the TV cable here. So we don't want to break that. Some of that might be necessary because Corvettes are very hard to find grounds on because they're fiberglass. So we'll set these to the side, and if we have to re-ground them somewhere else, we can do that. Hear this thing like whining?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It's air escaping out of the cooling system somewhere. Wow. Dad's been doing the body work on this thing and getting it ready to go. You can see he's got it all feather filled back there. So. But it doesn't run worth shit, so that's why we're doing this. I should clarify. Take off this fuel line here, and we'll reuse it whenever we go to run our car. Well, actually, no, we won't, because we're gonna have to put a mechanical pump on this. JD, what's the firing order of the small block Chevrolet?
So it's, hang on. So forward is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not forward?
No. That's how they number the cylinders. Firing order.
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know.
1, 8, 4,
6572.
1843-6572. All right, now you're gonna repeat that, okay?
Okay.
So this is number 1.
1.
It goes clockwise. You know, do you know what a clock is?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's a 1, and then this one's 8.
Okay.
Here, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. All right. Mark them all.
All?
Yes.
Why do we need to mark them all?
Because they run under the manifolds, and I don't want to fish for them. So mark them all.
Man, I think you're onto something. I think you could make a top weight.
Yeah. Why couldn't you make a plate out of this and mount two or even 4-barrel carburetors on that? I mean, or even, I don't know, let me get this off, see what it looks like. So who do I know that has a CNC machine? Because why couldn't you use this as a template, you not have any of this here, but then just mount 2 crosswise, 2 barrels, 2 500 2 barrels here. You have 1,000 CFM, and it's a cross ram effect. If we look at the lower intake, this throttle body here feeds the right side, and it makes this bend around, and then this side feeds this side. And so when you're, it's like the old cross rams on the Chryslers. It'd be pretty cool to have 2 carburetors like that, you know.
69 Camaro 302s at cross.
Yeah. Pulp distributor, we can't use this because it's locked out. It doesn't have a centrifugal advance mechanism in it. And that's all controlled by the computers. So this is pretty much useless except for the rotor and the cap and stuff. See how these center 2 bolts here are oily? So those are supposed to have thread sealant on them because those go in, they run right next to the push rods in there. Kind of makes me wonder if these cars burned oil, because this is negative pressure in here. It would be sucking oil out around the threads of these bolts right into the intake charge. We're going to try to remove the smog stuff off of here. I think all you really got to do is just unbolt everything and just cap the exhaust manifolds here. It has an EGR valve, but on this one it's built into the intake, so that shouldn't really be an issue. There's all this crap. That'll go away. I gotta pull the pulley off the smog pump, get the bolt out of it. That out. That out. That the scrap pile. Now we can get to that bolt.
All that for that.
Yep, that's, you gotta love 80s cars. This mess out of our way. Oh.
Just like that.
Yep. And that's, now we don't have to touch those bolts that were. I'm pretty sure I could strip paint with this gas. Dad did what I would have done, which was JB weld some bolts into the smog tube things, the other things that recirculate exhaust gas, and then fill your engine with it. And Jimmy Carter said that was good for it or something. Yeah. Somebody's been in here before. Note the red RTV. Yuck. Oh, it's clean though. Look at that. All right, well, let's clean this up. Get ready to plop a new intake on. Degrease on a Chevy, obviously. I never used the China wall gaskets. One time I used them and I had them push out. You know, your mileage may vary, but I just take these China wall gaskets here and that's where they belong. The center port is an exhaust port. So some of them are supposed to be plugged, some of them aren't. It gives you a little guide on which ones are or which ones are not. New intake over here is a EPS intake from Metalbrock, and I do think it still uses the exhaust crossover. It does. So it has crossovers on both sides. We could use either one, it doesn't matter. But what that does is just heat up the plenum of the intake. When it's cold, the engine warms up quicker that way. Here's your exhaust crossover plate here. And you just stick it in there, they snap together. It just restricts one side of it, so it kind of cuts down on the amount of heat that gets into the intake. Look what fell off of that drill while I was cleaning. That would have
been real bad.
Anyway, I put a little bit of a skin coat around the coolant passages on any intake, especially if it's a cast iron head, because even though it looks really nice, it's probably still porous. And just a little bit of a skin coat of silicone in there will kind of make up for that porosity in that. So we just squeeze a little bit around there. Now we're going to build a nice big tall China wall here. We're going to keep the Mongols in the engine, you know. And we're going to make it about 3/8 of an inch tall or so. Same back here. What we do next, put a big glob in the corner of the intake here. That's gonna really help make sure that the Mongols stay inside the drop. Hopefully these bolts will work. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I think they will. On the middle 4 bolts here, those are the ones that go into an oil passage. So just take not a lot of RTV, but just put a little bit of RTV on the threads of the bolt. And then whenever it goes in there, it'll make it kind of like a little gasket. Any piece of an engine, you always torque from the middle out. And you don't use a torque wrench, you just guess. I'm going to drop this in. It was pointing somewhere in this direction. It's worth a shot to see if we nail it. We won't. I think that's pretty much it. I was looking at the camera to see which way it was pointing. Oh, I think we need to turn it forward just a hair, don't you?
Yeah.
Pull it back out and I'll turn the oil pump shaft just a little bit. What, counterclockwise?
Yep.
Not even a whole o'clock. And that is money right there. I'm very good at randomly sticking distributors in engines and having them run. I'm not really good at doing anything correctly though. I will say that this distributor is a Chevy Performance distributor by Proform. And as far as an off-the-shelf distributor goes, it's not like an MSD or something. These are my favorites. They seem to time really, really well. Try to rob the heater nipple out of this original intake. The dad already converted this to electric headlights instead of vacuum, which is something I should probably do to mine. But we can rip all that extra vacuum hose out of there, plug it up here, and just try to clean this thing up overall. One of the hard parts of this is going to be, we got to go to a mechanical fuel pump on this. It has an in-tank fuel pump right now. So I can see it has a block-off plate down there. It's just a matter of figuring out how to get to the damn thing. So I got to remove this AC compressor so that I can at least get my eyes down there on the fuel pump block-off plate. This compressor's bad anyway. So see that block-off plate? We gotta take that off, put on the fuel pump adapter. Chevys use an actual adapter that mounts a triangle fuel pump. We also probably need to put a push rod in it, but these earlier engines are still designed to take one. They don't get rid of that until like 88, 89, somewhere in there. That bracket out of our way, that's the lower AC bracket. That's your adapter plate, so where that one's just blocked off, this one has a hole for a fuel pump. Ah, got it. And it fell into that tub of gasoline, so I'm not going to show you what it looked like. That's a small block Chevy push rod. This rides up on an eccentric on the cam and does this, pumps gas, you know, things happen. So I gotta put this in, and then I can put the fuel pump adapter plate on. Here's our new fuel pump. And the funny thing is this damn block has obviously never had a push rod in it. So usually you gotta pack them with grease or, you know, jam them up in there. This one just holds itself right in place because it's never had a push rod in it. That's gone. You wanna get that, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's enough for one day's work. Get a fuel pump on there now. We ran a line up here. Kind of just, this is just sitting on here, just a mock-up, but hook the heater lines back up, leaving the AC compressor off just for the moment. I have returned today, and let's see what we can wrap up on the vet here. Still waiting on our actual carburetor to show up, but I figured I'd go ahead and throw together the throttle linkage, which is very important. Well, except for I forgot to put the actual throttle cable linkage on there. We'll fix that, but I was most worried about the TV cable, which is this on a 700R4. If you don't have that adjusted right, it's not going to work well for you. I just kind of mocked it up, and you want to make sure you leave, I don't know, ½ an inch either way of adjustment to get that cable set right. Otherwise, transmission goes bye-bye. Usually the only way I can make these things work is by flipping this extension bracket upside down, and using this part with the 2 holes here is supposed to mount the actual cable bracket. They only ever get far enough away from it if you flip them around backwards. So I just put a couple of the extra 2 bolts back here just to secure that and keep that from being able to slide backwards. Kind of making busy work for myself, so I went ahead and threw the AC compressor back on. Well, I'm pretty sure we don't need any of this crap. I dug all the ground wires out of it and ground it to the intake just in case they do something other than the fuel injection. 10% sure that I can cut this stuff and then wad it up in this box and then you'll never see it again. So rather than, you know, be smart about it, I'll just start cutting. See all that? We don't need that. Goodbye. And I'll cap all the ends of these things, and I'll wad them up in this box here, and you know, clean it up a little bit, you know. JD, I'm busy buying tires. Put that carburetor on. This is a brand new old stock Carter AFB competition series. That is old school. Edelbrock bought Carter's design and started making them, but that's an oldie. That's a good one. Oh, one thing we do have to do, we have to put the 700R4 linkage on it. This little bracket from Edelbrock fits right over that. And you just bolt this on like that. And now you can easily hook your 700R4 right up to it. It's pretty good to have that. This kind of corrects the angle that it pulls at. See how that's a more gentle angle like that? If you were to just stick it in there, you'd be pulling up with it. When you mount the cable bracket like this, every one I've ever had, it ends up being upside down. What that does, there's actually a centering pin right there. That notch is for that, and it's right here. And if you try to put it in like this, well, then you can't get to the cable adjuster, so how the hell are you supposed to adjust it? I don't think I necessarily even put this together wrong. I think they're just kind of dumb. I'm pretty sure I could just cut that notch off of there. It would be ideal if we could actually put the notch in the bracket, that way it would still center itself. Well, that's some of the cut. Now we just gotta round it out a little bit. I'm kind of a machinist, you know. Now I got a round wood rasp here, and it's working pretty good. Not bad. It works perfect. Now we just got our adjuster right on the side. Hook that up there, and we'll try to get this adjusted correctly. I'm not the best at it, but I think I can do it. JD's gonna pour in the used antifreeze. I'm gonna finish up linkages. We strained that antifreeze out, just pour it right back in. Well, I think we're ready to try to start this thing. Timing is 12 degrees. That's gonna fall into the fan. Okay. Let's move that. See what happens. Watch for fire.
I will.
Is it not pumping anymore?
It's not pumping anymore, yeah.
Nothing up here. Oh my god.
What was in there?
Nothing good, that's for sure. Alright, let me take that off. I took that off, and it just went poof right in my face. Let me pull this out and see if it's got a basket filter in there that's plugged up. It doesn't have the thimble filter in here. This new old stock carburetor probably has a stuck needle and seat. I mean, yeah, the fuel looked really bad, but it should have at least pumped something into the bowls. Now, granted, should we be pumping this into the brand new carburetor? Yeah, probably not. We'll just change like 400 fuel filters on it and hope for the best, maybe? I'll fix this real quick. I need to set that TV cable. I'm gonna push this button on the side. I'm gonna floor it, and yeah, I eyeballed that pretty well, right? Tighten it up just a smidge. Floored. There, I pulled it about one tooth. Let's go about like that. That's pretty good. Well, that's close enough that we can drive around, and you actually set them by speed. Pumping plenty of gas, but I don't think we're getting anything through it. That's my mom, by the way.
Yay!
Big vacuum leak. That popped right off of there.
Oh.
I need to put a clamp on that. Spins this way, we go this way, advance it. too much.
Cool. Hey, bud, you want to turn up the idle a little bit?
Yeah.
Give it like one turn. There we go. Sounds good. All right. I forgot my timing light, so I'll set this by ear. I'm pretty good at it. Well. That's pretty good. Moved our mixture screws. Half, one and a half. Now we can idle it back down a little bit. Not like that. Sounds good. I think it's pretty happy. Tighten that distributor down. Well, make sure it restarts. So you crank it till it talks to you a little bit. And you just back it off a little. It talks to me a little bit there. Hear it buck a little bit?
Yeah.
Alright, so we gotta back it off just a tickle. Not like that. I'll come back with the timing light. No, I won't. Next step is going to be to drive it and see if we've got the TV cable set right. Probably ought to check out the transmission fluid.
Okay.
You got a rag in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
Pop it off a little bit. It likes it.
Now we got that settled. We're gonna drive it pretty gently. I'm gonna put it in overdrive. If you look at the shift pattern, you'll note it goes 2-3 drive. That's because there's only 3 detents in the shifter. They didn't redesign the shifter, they just added another gear. So you don't have first. So what we want to do is get up about maybe 30 miles an hour or so. What was that?
I don't know.
Shit falling off?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, it's slipping really bad, so let's pull over and tighten that thing.
Okay.
I tightened the cable. Let's see what that does for us. Oh yeah. Shifted a little too quick, actually. You see that?
Yeah.
So actually we need to back off just maybe a click or two, but I want to let it get warmed up before we do that. If you're going to err on the side of anything, err on the side of that thing being too tight. Let's get out of city limits, you know, just in case. Oh, also, they've never driven this car. I'm the first one to drive it.
Will it run and drive?
God, it's not. It might need a little suspension work. It sounds good, man. I mean, it's running really smooth. I just... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Throttle stuck.
Oh.
It's unstuck now. No, I thought that carburetor felt sticky. That thing must have been sitting on a shelf forever. It's not stuck now, though. Yeah, it's got enough balls to be scary when the gas pedal sticks to the floor. Oh, or maybe I got caught on this stupid floor mats.
Oh, yeah.
If I floor it now, all I gotta do is click forward to neutral. Yeah, I think I got caught on the floor mats. Okay, that's okay. I'll take that. I'll take that.
think it knocks.
Yep.
It's got something unhappy in there. That's not good. That's like timing chain. Been off the road since 2002. I mean, I only loosened it like a click over it being real tight earlier. Ugh. It's a slush box. I think transmission's bad too. Look how low that oil pressure drops. It's not good. I thought Dad had changed the oil in the thing. It looked really clean, but let's do our due diligence here. Make sure that's, yeah, it's totally full oil. It's actually a little over full. I wonder if it's that fuel pump, actually. I wonder if it's that fuel pump push rod knocking around. Unfortunately, it's gonna rain.
Yeah, well, it is raining.
Oh, well, it is raining. Oh, there they go. Ooh, there they go. Oh, that made everything worse. Great. How is it sunny and raining?
I don't know.
What is going on? Well, I know it needs to shift from first to second around 25 miles an hour, and it shifted way early, so I've got that cable too tight. But if I loosen that cable, it's just slop fest in there. I don't know. I think it needs to have a shop look at this. Someone who knows it better than I do, but I think we're probably looking at a pretty worn transmission if I had to guess. They try to back the timing off just for grins. I mean, sometimes really bad gas and too much spark advance could be causing spark knock. It's very intermittent, so it's either a timing chain or a fuel pump. I don't think it's anything like super bad.
It needs a lot. I mean, like, I know it needs a lot.
Actually, the brakes are really good.
Are they good?
It doesn't drive that bad. It
That's
never
good.
got hot.
That's good.
I just don't know. That noise is weird. It's not like a rod or anything like that. It's something else. I just don't know what. Water pump could be something really stupid.
This is old school here. I can hear the timing chain. It's not that. Not the fuel pump, not the timing chain. There it is. Now, I think I hear it over there.
Using my highly scientific stethoscope, I'm pretty sure it's in this valve cover here. So let's take a peek in here and see if we can see anything immediately wrong. It looks like one of them's been hitting this valve cover right there. And right there. Oh.
Could that be it?
Maybe. That seems too loose to me. It's not, it's on the base circle of the cam lobe right now, because this one's also loose, so it stopped on top dead center. That seems like an excessive amount of side-to-side movement. I'm just going to jump on this one here, and I'm going to tighten it till I just, can't quite turn. Till you feel a little, I'm going to tighten it till I feel a little bit of resistance on that push rod. Go just a smidge more. We could do it the old school way, but it's messy.
What is it?
Start it up with the valve cover off.
Oh, yeah?
Let's do that.
All right.
Hear it tapping. Let me just tighten it up until it quits tapping. don't think it's this.
I don't hear anything.
It's not a rocker. This is kind of my verdict here. You can see those 2 wear marks on the number 1 hole there. I think the rocker is hitting the valve cover just ever so slightly and intermittently. Maybe we would just put a thicker valve cover gasket on it and lift it up and away, and because when we were running it with the valve cover off, I didn't really hear it. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea, but I'm basically out of time, so we'll fix this. It runs decent. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think the motor's gonna chunk. If you have any ideas, let me know. But I don't really care what your Uncle Daddy's dog did to fix his Nova in 1987. You know, that's not really what I'm looking for. But if you're an engine guy and you have heard anything similar to that, or even, I don't even know if you could even hear it on camera. You may not be able to. Congratulations, you have a Corvette that kind of works, and your Blazer's fixed, though.
Yes, the Blazer.
So that's good.
It's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, JD. Let's go work on something else.
Okay.
Buy merch, please. If you buy merch, I can guarantee that it will be clothing. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time.